Today's video begins with this Buc-ee's in Florence, South Carolina. I went here probably a couple of years ago. But this morning I'm not getting breakfast here since I ate at the hotel. But I did get some snacks for the drive home. I'm filling up the tank with probably the lowest price I'll see on this weekend trip. Current price is great, just $2.97 a gallon. Thank goodness my SUV gets 30 miles to the gallon.
Hey guys, Emily, welcome everyone! At around 6 a.m. we got a notification that our cameras around our house had gone offline, and we checked the radar and saw that some bad storms had gone through. So I'm hoping we have power restored soon. But I have a lot of places to visit between here and the Georgia state line. Gonna be a super busy day. Let's go!
Let's see a map of where I'm headed today. I'm starting my day in Florence, then I'll make my way to south of the border. Then I'll travel westbound across the northern part of the state, staying just south of Laurinburg, Charlotte, Greenville, and Anderson, before ending this video where I started the last one, at Lake Russell near Calhoun Falls. Just a little bit north from the Buc-ee's on I-95 is the city of Latta. Population of about 1,300 people, and is home of the Vikings. Along the side of this thoroughfare is a very old cotton press, which was built in 1798, and is likely the oldest cotton press still in existence. The press used oxen or mules to rotate the press in order to tighten it. A descendant of a former owner moved the press to this property in 1948 so it could be preserved. And here's the cotton press. I'm guessing the oxen or mules would be strapped to those long pieces of wood, which are called buzzard wings, and they would walk around the press. You can see that wooden pole in the center that looks like a screw. By pressing the cotton, it forms a compact bale, and that means more cotton can be transported to a manufacturer. In this case, the cotton is used to make gin. This press is in excellent condition, especially since it is over 225 years old. It was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1972. Other than parts of the base and roof, the press is still constructed with the original materials. There are a few other cotton presses from roughly this time period, but this one is the oldest. Here's a very close view of the screw at the center of the cotton press. It's amazing that this is mostly the original wood. How is this so well preserved after all this time? It's really easy to get to the cotton press. From Interstate 95, take exit 181A, then the cotton press will be on your right. Alright, let's head north on that interstate to head to our next stop. Yesterday I didn't see very many south of the border billboards at all. Now that I'm just a few minutes away, there are quite a few billboards. Some cute sayings are, "You never sausage a place," "Chili today, hot tamale," and "You're always a wiener at Pedro's." And there it is, the legendary south of the border, the attraction that is directly south of the border between South and North Carolinas. I-95 has a lot of travel between New York and Florida, and south of the border is roughly halfway. It was very popular a few decades ago, but now, not so much. Here's the main man, Pedro, greeting drivers to the 350-acre south of the border complex. It sure doesn't look all that busy, and this is the Memorial Day holiday weekend, so this doesn't look good so far. Doing a slow pan along the 5-lane road in between the south of the border businesses. Not a lot of business at all, I've been here a few minutes and I saw a family take a picture in front of the dinosaur sculptures, but that's it. However, at the south of the border, Motor Inn, which I believe has 300 hotel units, so a pretty good sized hotel, there are many cars parked in front of the hotel rooms. Continuing to pan around, the gift shop over there only has a couple of cars. I don't think the Subaru observation deck is open, but the other gift shop across the street is open. Here are some more units in this large hotel. There's plenty of cars here also. I did see a vlog where someone stayed here. It might have been paging Mr. Morrow. I think he said the hotel was low quality, and there are a few feral cats crowding his front door. There's a pedestrian overpass across the main thoroughfare. This gives a good view of the entire property, and also eliminates the need for me to dodge all the traffic on this main road. I don't think the steakhouse is open for the day yet. And I saw the Yelp reviews, and they were decidedly negative. My father went to south of the border in the 70s, when traveling between Florida and New Jersey. He said this place was packed, slammed with lots of people, but 50 years later, almost a ghost town. Yeah, just a handful of cars parked at the Mexico shop.
I really don't know what to say about this place. It's been, I don't even know if I've even been here. I feel like I have been here, like when I was really, really young, but I almost had to fly. Yeah, this place is very weird. This also definitely seems like it's straight out of the 70s and hasn't changed for the past like 50 years. Probably apart from, some of the billboards that are now electronic, but that, it does seem like it's been kept up a little bit, but it's not like as much as it would need to be for it to actually be like a place that people want to go, because there's a couple people here. Not very many. We were driving around and there's not that many people here. So I think I kind of get it, south of the border, sounded like a car crash, probably wasn't. But like south of the Carolina border, I don't know. Still doesn't really make any sense.
South of the border opened in 1950, long before Interstate 95 was constructed. In addition to the hotel, the restaurants, and the gift shops, there's a campground, a mini golf course, some day-to-day amusement rides, and a large reptile exhibit.
Definitely seems like there's more security than anything around here.
There's also a large swimming pool inside a geodesic dome called Pedro's Pleasure Dome. The Sombrero observation deck is 200 feet tall. I don't see anyone over there, so I'm guessing it's closed. Plus, that's an awful lot of steps to climb up. There are lots of fiberglass statues, like this big gorilla. I have to say that the Buc-ee's about 3 hours ago was busier than this entire complex. These gift shops are pretty big, and to see 4 cars in front of Pedro's Mexico shop, that's not a good sign. Now the gas stations are busy today, and the gas price is $3.29. Take a look at this big spark plug with all the stickers on it. I tried to see if any vloggers I know put a sticker on this. It doesn't look like it, so the management here probably scrapes off the stickers every so often. I know Adam the Woo and Jacob the Carpetbagger put their stickers on here at some point. Oh, look at this. Oh, the irony. A Buc-ee's sticker. That's hilarious. Over there must be a convenience store, and this pink building is another restaurant, Burrito Loco. They also got bad Yelp reviews. So let me give you my opinion. I know a lot of vloggers come here, and they say this is an awesome place, a kitschy place, a throwback, a classic roadside attraction. And a couple of them are Latina, but they're not Mexican. So maybe there's a cultural difference there. I just have a different opinion. I don't really get the appeal. Maybe back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, when these jokes were considered funny. But now it just seems like the humor is very dated and a relic of the past. Also, I think this would have been a great place for a Buc-ee's if they didn't already have Florence location, or maybe replace south of the border with a giant outlet mall with some modern hotels. What do you think? Have you been here? Please leave me a comment. Driving about an hour northwest to Cheraw, South Carolina, population of just over 5,000 people, and is the home of the Braves. Cheraw is also the birthplace of iconic trumpeter Dizzy Gillespie. John Brooks Gillespie was born here on October 21st, 1917. His lifelong dream was to become a jazz musician, following in the footsteps of his idol, Roy Eldridge. To honor Dizzy Gillespie, the city has this bronze statue showing him with his trademark balloon cheeks playing the trumpet. I'm not familiar with the music of Dizzy Gillespie, but upon research, I read he popularized a style of music called bebop. Also, his horn is angled a little differently. You see, the bell is angled a little upward from the rest of the trumpet. Back in 1953, someone fell on his trumpet and bent the bell. Gillespie said the bent bell actually sounded better and projected sound farther into the audience. Ever since then, each new trumpet made for Dizzy Gillespie had the bell bent upward at 45 degrees. As far as the puffed cheeks, I read Dizzy Gillespie had a medical condition that affected his larynx that forced him to rely on his mouth muscles instead, causing what is called glass-blower's disease. At the base of the statue are some important points in Dizzy Gillespie's life, such as starting bebop, working with Cab Calloway, having a number of hit jazz and bebop songs in the 40s, and then continuing to be a pioneer with starting the Afro-Cuban jazz musical movement. Dizzy passed away in 1993 at the age of 75. He influenced many well-known musicians such as Miles Davis, Chick Corea, Chuck Mangione, as well as the Charleston Jazz Orchestra. Checking out one more place while I'm here, check out this open space with a Dizzy Gillespie archway and musical note fence. There was a house that once stood here where Dizzy was born on October 21st, 1917. He and his family lived here until they moved to Philadelphia in 1935. This marker goes on to list his accomplishments as a jazz musician. He was also a Goodwill Ambassador for the U.S. State Department, and performed at the White House during 8 different presidencies, from Eisenhower to Bush the Elder, received the National Medal of Arts in 1989, and the Kennedy Center Honors in 1990 for his lifetime contributions to American culture. Today, this is a large open space, a few benches here and some markers, so check us out real quick. This is also known as the Dizzy Gillespie Homesite Park. The park was dedicated in October 2002, and there are a number of stainless steel sculptures which were created by South Carolina artist Bob Doster. Doster worked with children from Cheraw on the design of the sculptures. I can tell that these sculptures have graffiti on them, and it's very difficult to clean them from the stainless steel. Here's one of the stainless steel benches, and you can kind of make out an etching of Dizzy Gillespie playing his trumpet. And here's a sculpture of 2 of his signature bent trumpets. You can see the bell on each trumpet is bent about 45 degrees. More bench with Dizzy playing his trumpet. There's not a lot in this park, it's mostly open space. The seat on this bench has some musical notes. Look at this interesting sculpture over there. Looks like a cylinder with children on top of it. Unfortunately, you can really see either what was graffiti or some damage to the sculpture. It really takes away what the artist wanted to convey. The same with this one. This is a real shape. This man pretty much created at least 2 genres of music, and people come here to deface these sculptures. I think what this is music being lifted into the heavens. That's what I get out of it, but again, it's hard to tell. This is a beautiful city park, and if you're a fan of jazz, this might be a great stop for you to see where a groundbreaking jazz musician was born. Oh, do you see the notes on this fence? These are the musical notes from one of Dizzy Gillespie's popular songs called Salt Peanuts. The city of Toronto holds a jazz festival every 3rd weekend in October, coinciding with Dizzy Gillespie's birthday. Alright, let's head to the next stop. Only 33 miles south of Charlotte, I'm barely inside the state of South Carolina, in the city of Lancaster. More specifically, I'm at Andrew Jackson State Park. Admission is just $3 per person, which begs the question, why does Georgia charge $5? But I digress. This marker says President Andrew Jackson was born very near here on March 15th, 1787, on the plantation where James Crawford lived and where Jackson himself said he was born. The sign gives some ideas on what you could do depending on how long you could be here. I saw some people having a picnic, and it's actually a nice day for one. The clouds from earlier storms here have parted. And the temperatures are comfortable right now. But I'm here for about an hour or so, and I'm gonna do a quick walk around the pathway. The pathway is called the Crawford Trail, and it's about 1.1 miles long. The first stop on the pathway is a small schoolhouse. The schoolhouse is pretty small, pretty modest. This is a replica of what a schoolhouse may have looked like. This isn't an original schoolhouse from the Revolutionary War. This marker says, in the areas such as this, children got their education from local, quote, common schools to read the Bible and operate their farms. This also says Andrew Jackson's mother paid a schoolmaster to teach advanced classes, and Andrew Jackson was orphaned at age 14 and finished school in a nearby district, then moved to North Carolina to study law. Taking a look inside the schoolhouse, and it's definitely decorated to the Revolutionary War period. I'm looking through the glass in the front door and the 2 front windows to see as much as I can. You can see the bonnets and hats hanging up on the far wall, and the desks and chairs that children may have used. And at the front of the room, there's a fireplace, and I had no idea they used hand sanitizer in the 18th century. Outside the schoolhouse is the bell. I heard others ring the bell, and it was really loud. The 2-story building is a museum. I think they have some displays inside where I can learn about the 7th U.S. president. Jackson was president from 1829 to 1837. His legacy is considered contradictory, but he may be most well known for forcibly relocating Native American tribes west of the Mississippi River, known as the Trail of Tears. I still wanted to go to the museum, but it appears to be closed right now. Those are some weird hours, open from 11 noon, then 2 to 3. Oh well. So let's move on to this interesting statue. This is Andrew Jackson as a teenager, riding a farm horse. The statue is called the Boy of the Waxhaws. and sculpted by Anna Hyatt Huntington after commissioners wanted to honor the only South Carolinian to assume the presidency. The sculpture was dedicated on March 15, 1967, which was 200 years to the day that Andrew Jackson was born. Another thing about his statue, they got the money by collecting spare change from elementary school students throughout the state of South Carolina. Does anyone else think that's a little lame, taking pocket change from little children? The sculptor said, quote, "It has been a pleasure to work on South Carolina's great man, and to try and visualize him as a maturing young youth looking into the future. This is a good sculpture, and it really does show this young man contemplating what the future holds. Normal people have been passing through, snapping some pictures for a couple of minutes, then going on the next display on the pathway. However, being a vlogger, I've probably been at this statue for a good 15 minutes, and I noticed that each angle is a little bit different. This angle better shows him leaning away from the horse, deep in thought. He was going to become a decorated military man before becoming a U.S. congressman, senator, and president. He still remained influential after leaving the White House. This looks like a gravesite, but this is a commemoration of Elizabeth Hutchinson Jackson, mother of Andrew Jackson. She was born circa 1737 in Ireland, married the elder Andrew Jackson, then migrated to this region. She became pregnant, but her husband passed away before the future president was born. She died of cholera in 1781 and was buried in an unmarked grave. See these bugs dead on the pathway? These are cicadas. There are a lot of cicadas out, and more to come, and they make this horrible noise. This marker has a quote of Andrew Jackson speaking with Jerry Witherspoon. He said he was born in South Carolina at the plantation where James Crawford lived. The stone marks where that plantation stood. Jackson also stated in his last will and testament that he was a native of South Carolina. Alright, looks like I covered the entire 1 mile loop, learning more about Andrew Jackson. Looks like there's one more marker over here at the end of the trail. The last thing to see is a meeting house, which is what immigrants from Scotland and Ireland called their houses of worship. This notes the meeting house is not just a place to worship, but also for recreation, community functions, and political discussion. The Jackson family belonged to the Waxham Meeting House, the oldest in South Carolina backcountry. Over here's a reconstruction of what the meeting house would have looked like. It's not a fancy building, just functional enough to meet the community needs. On the other side of the road is a trail that leads to a large lake, which I saw a lot of people taking this morning. I'm just going to walk to the amphitheater, then continue westward to other places. Down this walkway is the amphitheater, but do you hear that sound, other than the birds? It's getting louder as I walk down here. Those are cicadas. I think there's supposed to be a lot of cicadas coming out of the ground and making a buzzing sound. Before I leave, two other facts about Andrew Jackson, and both topical as of the release of this video in mid-July 2024. First, he signed the legislation to create the Federal Reserve. You know about them regarding the interest rates. And second, he was the first U.S. president to endure an assassination attempt. Not too far from the state park is the Waxhaw Presbyterian Church. Next to this church is a cemetery. And you know it wouldn't be an Emily travel video without going to a cemetery, right? This is the Waxhaw Cemetery, and there are several short grave markers in front of this larger marker that is in the shape of a woman. These were erected by the Waxhaw chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution. The large statue is a best guess representation of Andrew Jackson's mother. Erected in the memory of Elizabeth Hutchinson Jackson, mother of Andrew Jackson, 7th President of the United States. This is how the DAR chapter imagined Elizabeth Jackson would look, very close to where they guessed might be her actual final resting place. No one truly knows where Elizabeth Jackson is buried, but the DAR wanted to memorialize her and also thank her for her service during the Revolutionary War. There are long epitaphs on each side of this marker. Down here it reads that she settled in this region in 1765 while nursing Waxhaw patriots on a British prison ship in Charleston. She was stricken with smallpox and then died from cholera in November 1781. The last side of this marker says the last word she said to her son, who was just 14, was to make friends by being honest, keep them by being steadfast, never tell a lie, nor take what is not your own, nor sue for slander. On both sides of her statue are statues of her other sons. The first one is Hugh Jackson, the second, born in 1762. The statue on the other side is to memorialize Robert Jackson, born 1764. In front of the Jackson statues are 8 memorial markers from some of the Revolutionary War soldiers from the Waxhaw Church. Each of these markers were erected by descendants of those soldiers. I'm heading just outside of the city of Lockhart, where there are other markers erected to memorialize lives gone too soon. The markers are on the approach road to Lake John D. Long. This lake is the site of one of the most notorious murders in South Carolina history. Although you Google the name Susan Smith, you can read for yourself. I will not go to the lake, this is far enough. These markers were at the lake not long after those boys died, but they were moved here, and thank God, because it's simply too much to see the lake, and it's a lot to be here to begin with. You can see many people have left toys. As much as I respect whoever put those wonderful memorials up, this was really hard to see. Let's hope that despicable woman is denied parole later this year. Drove a little while and reached the city of Newberry. Specifically, this is south exit 74 from Interstate 26. And take a look at the egg-shaped water tower over there. I've never seen one shaped like an egg before. This is behind the Merchant's Food Service building, which is a food wholesaler. Newberry County is known as the Milk and Egg Capital. But I don't know if this is the milk and egg capital of the state, or the country, or the world. No idea. Oh, I forgot to tell you that the population is around 10,700, and is the home of the Bulldogs. No word on if the residents of the city think it's an excellent place to live. Okay, that was an awful joke. There's another interesting place in Newberry County, about 8 miles away from here, so let's make a mad scramble to that city, and I promise there'll be no more yoking around. Now in the town of Prosperity, it's not very big, only about 1,200 people live here, and it's still the home of the Bulldogs. Prosperity is an unusual name for a community, but its former name is pretty unique, Frog Level. Yep, Frog Level. It was named due to its numerous ponds where lots of frogs would make their homes. When part of the town was destroyed by a fire in 1873, the residents decided to rename their town to Prosperity, which was the name of their Presbyterian church. The town just celebrated their 150th anniversary, and their tagline is Prosperity equal to the name. It has a cute downtown, very similar to other small downtowns in South Carolina. This one has some newer buildings, mixed in with the older buildings along the thoroughfare through downtown. At the corner in front of me, with a green circular sign, this looks like it used to be a gas station. Over here is a gazebo. I bet this is a popular location for taking bridal or prom photos. Inside the gazebo, there's a marketing tagline from their website, equal to the name. I found a painted mural with a giant frog, and it looks like a firefly flying around that frog. There's a small sign next to the frog. It says Frog's Level, established 1851. So Frog Level was established about 22 years before the town renamed itself to Prosperity. This mural was painted by Austin Slim G in honor of Prosperity's 150th anniversary. This is an awesome mural, I really like it. This not only adds some color to downtown, but it also matches the garbage bins on the right, so it's a win-win all the way around, right? Anyway, on to my next stop. My next stop takes me to Saluda, where the road ends. I'm at the cemetery of Rock Hill Baptist Church. Is it just me, or have I been to a lot of cemeteries and memorial markers on today's road trip? Maybe I should quit going to cemeteries before my channel becomes really morbid. Well, since I'm here, here's a grave marker for the hallways. This is a really big plot. And the reason it's so large is, this man was buried sitting his retirement gift, his beloved 1973 Pontiac Catalina. But wait, there's more. In the passenger seat of the car is his entire stockpile of hunting rifles. Oh, one more thing. He was also buried with $100 in his pocket. I guess you really can't take it with you, right? So the story is Lonnie Holiday put his sister in charge of his final wishes. His wish was to be buried with his Pontiac, which he bought himself when he retired. He also wanted to be buried with his rifles, so they wouldn't be used to kill anyone. In 2009, when he did pass, people came to his cemetery to watch him be interred right here. You see our SUV right over there, and if I pan over to the gravesite, you see there's plenty of space to bury a vehicle. Some more perspective, the SUV is now next to the gravesite, so you can see this plot of land is pretty big. In fact, there's room not only for the car, but also for Holloway's wife, who is also buried in the large plot. She was buried 2 years before Lonnie Holloway died. She was not disturbed when they buried Lonnie Holloway in the car, plus all their guns are in the passenger seat anyway. I promise this is the last cemetery on this video, but I have one more stop, which is about an hour away. My last stop is where I began my last video, at the shores of Lake Russell near Calhoun Falls. This time, I'm looking across the lake at South Carolina as I've crossed the bridge back into Georgia. This was a good weekend. I was expecting some bad weather between Florence and here, but it turned out only a few raindrops fell, and the skies cleared once we reached the Charlotte metro area. The weather is really good, and there are lots of people enjoying the late afternoon on their boats. I still have about 2.5 hours of driving to make it home, and I didn't get the good news I was hoping for regarding the power outage at home.
And that's it. This is how it looked when I got home from my weekend in South Carolina. We found out the big storm had taken down some trees, which took down some power poles. We got our power back around 11:30 p.m., and all our food was spoiled. No damage to the house, though, thank goodness. So we looked out when we decided on the spur of the moment to leave Georgia for the weekend. I have more travel adventures coming up soon, including a trip where I go to North Carolina, then to Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware. You see that? Next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!